Okay, and we're on.
2, 1.
Hi. Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday again.
Yes. My name is Michelle Plazik. I'm with RE/MAX Realty Advantage.
And I'm Kim Malden with RE/MAX Realty Advantage.
Today we're here to talk about selling your house.
Selling your home. Absolutely. It's coming up on spring, and that is when our buyers hit the ground running. And so if you are a seller or think you want to be a seller, this is the time to be thinking about it.
Although you can think about it all year long. I don't really think there is a
absolutely.
good time to sell your house.
Yeah, I mean, I think any time is a good time, but, you know, I think the number of buyers hitting the market is definitely bigger in the spring.
It is.
But there are advantages to selling your house at any time of year, exactly.
Especially here in San Antonio because we have so much military and they're in and out quite often.
Oh, yeah, they are on the move.
So the first thing when somebody says they want to sell their house, the very first thing I think you should do, of course, is to call us.
Yes, absolutely. Give us a call.
But if you're not in our town, you can call any realtor.
True.
Yeah, I
True.
think that's where you really need to start. I guess it would be a good suggestion to call more than one. Each realtor, when they come, they usually bring a comparative market analysis with them.
Yeah.
And how do you choose a realtor? What would you suggest, Kim?
Well, there are a lot of things that go into it. You know, I have people ask me, well, what's different about you than, you know, Realtor A and B? How do you market? How long do your homes sit on the market? Do they sell for their list price? There's a lot of things that go into it and that people ask. And I think those are really wise questions. And I think you should ask those questions.
Absolutely. And for the most part, you know, in my experience, I think you want an experienced full-time agent.
Yes, full-time, absolutely.
Because they really have their thumb on the pulse of what's really happening in your area or neighborhood. Now, San Antonio is a very big place, so...
Seventh largest city in the nation.
And, you know, we can't always be experts on every neighborhood. So
No, but
do
we
you
can
need
do
to be
a
an
lot
expert?
of research on every neighborhood, and we have all of the data that we need to really dig in and see what's going on in every neighborhood, even if it's not one that we live in. I mean, that we don't live in, because we can only live in one place.
Right. And oftentimes people will say that. Do you live in my neighborhood? Do you know about my neighborhood? Or do you live nearby? And it's, while it is a benefit, it's not necessary.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And like I said, you know, all realtors have access to the same data. And so but they don't use it equally, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, you really want someone that's going to dig in and do the research on your neighborhood. And when they come to you, you're going to know if they've done that because they're going to sound like they know your neighborhood. So ask those questions. And then, so what are some of the reasons that, you know, people sell?
Well,
Military, we mentioned that.
Military, yeah, moving in and out
Relocating.
of relocation is big here. But I think it's life changes.
Yeah.
You know, you've bought a house to start off with, and now you realize your family is growing.
Yeah.
Your house is just a little bit too small, and so you need another bedroom, or you just need more space, or another living area. Or the opposite is true sometimes, where you have to...
It's time to downsize. You don't need 4 bedrooms upstairs, and you don't need 3,000 square feet or 5,000 square feet. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to do that. And you know, maybe you want to remodel your home, but if you're in a neighborhood and you're already the nicest house on the block, well, you don't want to put more money into that particular house because then it's harder to sell for what you put into it. So maybe then it's time to consider moving to a new neighborhood.
And sometimes people just want something different.
Yeah.
You know, they're just, they're tired of living close to their neighbors and they want a little bit more land, or just the opposite, where they've got too much land and they don't want to take care of it anymore and they want something
tired of mowing the grass.
Yeah.
So, you know, right now, rates are still historically low, even though we hear grumbling that they're higher than they were a year ago or a year and a half ago. They're still historically low. So for sellers that are going to be sellers and buyers, you know, it's hard to get both sides of that coin, like get that historically low interest rate to go buy your next house, and we're in a strong seller's market. So it's hard to be in a strong seller's market and get the benefit of that, and then go get that low interest rate and not have to compete the house you want to buy. So in that case, what do you do, Michelle?
Well, you just try to time the market as best as you can, but if you're getting a better deal on one end, then you're not going to get as good of a deal on the other end, and you just have to live with that.
Yeah, you can't have both. I guess you can't have your cake and your icing.
Yeah.
But
working from
anyway,
it's kind of a crazy saying.
But there are people who will sell their house in a really hot seller's market and then wait a little while, live in an apartment for a few months or whatever, and then go buy. That's one option. There are, there are people who say, well, I'm going to sell now and live cheap for a few years and hope that interest rates are still low when they buy again and it's back to a buyer's market. So you really have to consider where you're moving to and what reason you're moving for when you get ready to put your house on the market.
A lot of questions we always get is, what should I do before I sell my house? So we just recently went through this last year where we sold our house, and we went probably, I planned for 6 months prior to the time that I was going to sell, just starting to declutter, getting that garage sale, getting rid of all of the things that we never use anymore and we just needed to get rid of. And then fixing things up little by little. I think it's important that you talk to a realtor in the beginning, not just for the comparative market analysis, but what should I do with the house?
Yeah.
Should I paint the cabinets? Do I really need to put granite countertops in? Or do I just need to fix all the broken faucets or whatever?
Yeah, because there are some things you can do really affordably to make your home more saleable. Which means it spends less time on the market. And then there are some things you can do that make your home worth more, but do you get all of it back out? So, have someone let us come in and tell you, I think putting in, the granite countertops in your kitchen would get you your money back. Or, you know what, no, why don't you just paint these kitchen cabinets and we'll move forward from there. So I think, that's great advice. Have a realtor in at the beginning before you start doing things.
Yeah, because we get that question a lot. And sometimes people put way too much money into a home and they don't get it back. And it's, we hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I just spent $10,000 on such and such. Well, unfortunately, you're not going to get that back.
Yeah.
There are some things that are expected. People do expect when they're buying a house that they're going to have a roof in good condition.
Yes.
That their heating and air conditioning works. So because you just spent $10,000 on a new system doesn't mean you're going to get that back.
No.
It's wonderful that it has it, and it's going to make it more saleable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it back.
Yeah. And I always tell people like this, if I have two houses next to each other that are identical and one has a brand new roof and a brand new AC, every house is supposed to have a roof and an air conditioner, right? So the one that has the brand new, that house is going to be the one that sells first. But it's not going to sell for more necessarily. So.
Right. And keep in mind, appraisers do not give that any more value.
No.
And that's another point. We can talk a little bit about appraisers, because some people think that they need to get an appraisal before they put their house on the market so they can be sure what the house is worth.
Yeah.
That's not necessary. Every once in a while, it could be useful, because if you have a very unique property that
something that's hard to price.
Yeah, we can't really use comps from one neighborhood or another, then we might want to get an appraisal. But a good realtor will be able to tell you ahead of time.
Yep, absolutely.
One thing, what do you think about pre-inspection reports?
Well, I was going to say on appraisals, by the way, even if you have an appraisal done before you put your house on the market, your appraisal is not going to be the same if it's done by someone different when it goes to the lender.
That's true.
So even appraisals are subjective. So, keep that in mind. We do our best to give you a fair market value on your home, and we use the same data and criteria that appraisers use, but we're not appraisers. But keep in mind that it is still subject to their opinion, okay? So you were saying?
Pre-inspection reports? What do you think of those?
That, I kind of like those. They're not as expensive as a full-on inspection, and it gives you a heads up, what that other inspector is going to find and what you can, take care of before it comes time to negotiate.
However, keep in mind that if you do get a pre-inspection, you have to give that up and disclose that.
Yep.
That we have a seller's disclosure statement that we ask every seller, whether it's by law that the sellers have to do that in the state of Texas. And one of the questions is, have you had an inspection in the last 4 years?
Yes.
So, and if you have to provide a
attach
copy.
it. Mm-hmm.
So, but that's okay. I mean, if you find out that you had a leaky faucet and you fixed it, that's fine. And sometimes it saves the buyer some money because they may be willing to accept that inspection if it's within the last 6 months.
And if it comes back that your foundation's cracked, well, honestly, that's something that you probably wanted to know before you put it on the market, because then somebody else was going to find it, and that would be heartbreaking halfway through the transaction.
But if you don't plan on fixing any of it, then don't get one.
Yeah. If you're not going to do anything, don't get one. So anyway, so I think that's about our time. But if you guys have more questions on this, because there's a ton more to know and ask, feel free to send us a message or post on our wall. We'd be happy to give you more information.
Yes, we would.
Okay, ciao. Bye.